Hello and welcome to hobby vlog number 94. The first half of this week I was sat in a beautiful apartment and on a beach on Thassos having a wonderful holiday with my family. It really was wonderful. I took paints and I took miniatures with me and I didn't even look at it. I didn't even take anything out of the box, which was just what I needed, a nice holiday. But I've come back to it and I've got a little bit more energy. We've had quite a few problems with power cuts, which has slowed me down a bit in the last few days. But with the power back on today, this is Saturday, I've been able to get a little bit more done. And I've started another project, which you'll see if you watch on. So yeah, it's a shorter week, but I'm not sure whether it's going to be a shorter video because I have been quite productive this evening and I really hope you enjoy it. Here's to the rest of the year. The holiday is over, back to normality, back to work, and hopefully back to some productivity at the workbench as well. Enjoy the video. Let me know in the comments below what you think. I'll stop rambling now and yeah, I'll see you at the end. So back from holiday to a couple of deliveries, which is quite cool. And this is the probably the most exciting in one sense, because this is actually a parcel from Mike from Paint to Life. I did the collaboration with him, which was a lot of fun, and as part of that he said he was going to send me one of the miniatures he'd painted, which he did, and a load of other things. Now I have opened this already, so this isn't a true unboxing, but you can see that he's reused the packing that I sent him. So I've got that back to be used again, which is pretty cool. And what we'll do is we'll have a look and I'll show you what he sent me, which is some really lovely stuff. So first of all, there's an awesome letter, which I'm not going to read to you, but it was very lovely, him thanking me for the collaboration and for the support I give him. And he is an awesome guy, and if you don't watch his channel, then you really should do. Let me just quickly zoom that out a little bit. He also sent me some maple syrup. Being very Canadian, he thought he'd send me some maple syrup, which is going to go very nicely on something or other. A bunch of Paint to Life stickers and business cards, which I will liberally seed around and try to share. He also sent me some Canadian mousse droppings, whatever they are, milk chocolate almonds, so they'll be eaten fast, I'm absolutely sure of that. And here we have some maple leaf fudge. Now that is just the best thing ever, isn't it, maple leaf fudge? And then we come down to the gaming related stuff. So a awesome set of dice, really like those. So you've got percentile dice, D20s, yeah, D8s. So that's really cool. Never have too many dice, can you? And then the last but most important thing, and this is something I've not yet opened, this here is the miniature. So the miniature is called Alvaro de Carrillo. Alvaro de Carrillo. So let's have a look inside this and have a look at this wonderful miniature. So this was painted as part of the collaboration, where I did the golem, the wooden golem, and Mike painted up a bunch of Spanish soldiers, and this here is one of them, and this is what he sent. So thank you so much, Mark. I really enjoyed that collaboration. It was a really good fun one, and being involved in your channel, which is just one of my favourite channels that there is on YouTube. I just love the concept and the way you do it. I really do. I'm not just saying that. Really real big enjoyment of mine to watch your videos. It was really cool to be involved, and it's wonderful to have one of your miniatures. So this will now take pride of place, and I will probably make use of him. I'll try to make use of him in something so that we can see that again. So there we are. That was the one of the things that's arrived since that was waiting for me when I got back. Thank you ever so much, Mike. Let's have a look at the other stuff. So the next thing is a couple of Kickstarters have arrived. This is Twisted Fables. Now, for whatever reason, I actually decided to not get the game and just get the miniatures. So I will do an unboxing of these separately. I'm not going to open them now. I'm going to leave them in the boxes. But I bought the miniatures, and because I really love art books, I bought the art book. So let's give a good sniff of this. That is a pretty strong new book smell. Some beautiful art in there. So this is basically, you can see, Red Riding Hood, Snow White, Sleeping Beauty, Dorothy, The Little Mermaid. I've heard that the game is very good, so I'm kind of a little bit sad that I didn't get the whole thing. But I bought these to paint them up, basically. So that's one thing that's arrived, which is really cool. It seems to be well packed, no damage that I can see. So let's have a look at the final thing. So this made me chuckle so much that I wanted to put it on camera, and it's not going to sound very good, so I might mute the next bit, but there is so much packing in this box. Awesome's that. I mean, that's going to make sure there's no damages there. This is something which we've been quite looking forward to. So this is a game called The Night Cage. It was not a very expensive game to back on Kickstarter, but it was one that really struck a chord in terms of its the campaign was brilliant, and the artwork was brilliant. So I just put my money down on it, about 35 quid or something, yeah, I've got an all-in edition and a deluxe edition. So I will get that out of the box now, and we'll have a quick look at these and see what's in them. So here we are. Here we have The Night Cage. I mean, you can just see, if you've watched this channel, you'll know this is the sort of artwork I love, just that subtlety, but striking. I mean, it's just brilliant. And this here is a strong element in the game. So one of the reasons I backed it is it's a soloable game, 1 to 5 players, and basically you're trapped in a maze and you need to escape. And yeah, to win, players must each collect a key, find a gate and escape as a group, so you can't leave people behind. Escape won't be easy. The weak glow of your candle sheds light on only a small area of the maze at a time. As players move, new pathways are revealed, while old ones disappear forever into the darkness, creating an ever-changing play space that requires teamwork and collective strategy to navigate. And it just sounded so fantastic that I just had to pick it up, like I say. So let's have a look at this edition here. Let's get this single-use plastic off and we'll have a look inside the box. So here we are, plastic's off. How long will your light last? Not the most difficult box to get into I've had, but that's fine. So we've got a rule book and it comes with dies, which I don't have, but I may need to get. So yeah, nice square, easy to read rulebook from the looks of it, with some more beautiful artwork. Look at that. There we are. So I'll have to have a read through that. Another game to learn. And then what have we got? What have we got in here? So this is the deluxe rather than the all-in. So we have a bunch of tokens. I think this here is a like a tower that means that your tiles drop down and you can pull them through, so it keeps everything organised while you're playing. We have some cards. We have some more tiles. The tile discards. Oh, so maybe this is looks like it's stuff that you get. 10 straights, 12 crossroads, 30 T-bends, and then you have the different types of enemies, start tile, keys and gates. So this is what you get. So for different numbers of prisoners. Okay, so that's like a setup kind of thing, or a contents. Now it comes with miniatures, and this is one thing I'm really cool about having the both, because I can paint up one set and maybe do a little diorama with it. And the other set can obviously be staying in the game. So let's have a quick look at these miniatures. I mean, they really are just awesome. Let me see if I can get that. A little kind of like humanoid crawling along with the candle. They're all slightly different, which is really awesome. So here we've got another one. Skeletal back, and then the candle in front. Look at the so skeletal with the ribs showing from the back. So absolutely beautiful, beautiful. Here, this one, cuddling the candle, big eyes looking out. They're not. What I really liked about the artwork on this is it's not. It's very kind of like impressionistic. It's not trying to be accurate. You can see it's trying to show off the style of the artwork, and the artwork's what attracted me. So I'm really pleased that he went for this and he didn't go for something too realistic or attempting to you know, compete with the Simons of this world, or however you want to pronounce the name. Not that I'm a big fan of theirs. He went his own way, and that's just something to be praised. So yeah, really cool. So we've got a whole bunch of cards here, a whole bunch of tiles here, and we have some more things. So these are the keys, so they will be getting painted up as well, obviously. And here are the tiles. So you can see this is a T-junction. What else have we got? Pick another one at random. I think that's a starting tile. So yeah, so that's what you get in the box. That's pretty awesome. I'm pretty pleased with that. And I will now have a look and see what's inside the tube. So let me just tidy that up and we'll have a look inside the tube. Okay, so to wrap this brief unboxing up, here is the playmat. So it's a really nice feel, nicely sewn edges, so that's not going to get frayed. Good weight to it actually. And there were two options when you bought this. You could buy it folded, or you could pay a bit extra to get it put into a tube. And I definitely put it in the tube, because if that had been folded and shipped all the way from China, it would have just taken ages. So yeah, so this is the play area. You can see that it's got a nice colour. And each of those little tiles that we saw can be placed here, and as you move around you illuminate what you have, and then as you move forwards, then it loses illumination and the tiles go, and then when you come back you'll put a different tile down, so you never know what's going to happen. It's a really nice little concept. So there we are, that's the night cage. I will attempt to get more videos of this than just this quick unboxing to the channel, maybe get some playthroughs. I'm quite excited about it because it's right up my street, same as Unbroken. Quite a similar thing, but slightly bigger. So yeah, very pleased that that's arrived and well packaged and seems to be complete. So yeah, hopefully I won't find there's anything lost and missing. So yeah, good to come home from holiday and find that. So here we are. Here is the things that we picked up. So there was some beautiful, amazing marble on the beaches we were on, and I just picked up a couple of pieces because they're stunning. They're absolutely beautiful. There were some really, really large pieces that you could almost turn into furniture. Just amazing, just lying around. The thing that Rosie picked the most up were these pine cones. Now they're going to need to be treated. I'm probably going to put them through the microwave to kill any bugs that might be on them, and then I'll probably dip them in PVA a couple of times, leave them to dry, more PVA, leave them to dry, whatever. So that's going to be the thing that's going to slow down the actual finishing of the project. So I actually need to get those in the microwave probably first thing tomorrow morning. It's probably a bit late now, I don't want to disturb Rosie. So the other things that we got is in this little pot here. So let me just move the camera a little bit and zoom in slightly more. So the face mask is protecting the single solitary, and I'm not joking, we didn't find any other shells at all, which is really odd. So we found one shell, so that's definitely going to go on. We picked up a bit of kind of like, this is more pine bark, which also is going to need to be sealed and treated the same as that, but a bit in the sea, so you can see it's rounded off, so that's going to be part of it. And then we've picked up, this is going to be the centerpiece, the heartstone. This is a heartstone which Rosie absolutely loved, so that's going to be very, very central to the layout. And then a couple of other bits and pieces, like a stripy stone that she really liked. A lot of these she used on the beach to bury my feet. And then these last couple, which may or may not all go on, are just other ones that she picked up that she really liked the colours and what have you. So that's what we've got to put on, and obviously, as I said, also the picture of the family, Rosie and Angela. And we're going to put it into this big, I'm going to put it into this big one here, this big poster frame, because the small poster frame which I have here is just not going to be big enough for everything that we picked up. That's the same size as what we did before, I think. Oh, just dropped the yeah. So we're going to put them into this big poster frame. So the photograph of Rosie will be in the centre, with us in the centre. I think I'm going to do it portrait. I'm not sure, I might change my mind. But what I'm going to do now is prepare the wooden elements so that they can be sealed. So I'll put them into the microwave and, as I say, coat them in PVA multiple times. and then I will start to arrange them on this, and when I've got a rough layout, bring you back, show you what I'm going to do, talk you through how I'm going to glue it down, and then we'll go on from there. But it was just a wonderful holiday, and I'm really looking forward to putting this together to basically immortalise and keep the memory, so we can always look at it and always smile and remember those lovely moments where we picked these things up. Alright, so been on holiday, got back, and now I'm going to cut this out of the base. I'm going to call it done. I've decided against doing anything else, apart from I may need to just touch up some black paint where I cut. But this is the good thing about this technique, is it's actually relatively easy to do, and easy is good obviously, just be very careful when you're cutting towards yourself. There we are. So it's easy, really easy to do, and it gives a really good result. There's no warping at all on this, which is obviously what we want. But what you can see is I'm going to want to touch up along the edge there where I've got black, and maybe put some blue on the side there. But yeah, we're literally just going to cut. There we are. And that will give us our 10 by 10. So I'll finish doing that, touch up the sides, and then I'll do my glamour shots. Okay, let's start positioning these miniatures on this display. So I'm going to start off with the witch on her sled. I'm just going to use super glue along the bottom of the runners and then hold it in place for a minute or so, because once this is in place everything else can be positioned around it. And there's a little lump which I took out when I placed when I dragged it across, and so I'm going to roughly match that up and let that to dry. So I'm probably just going to have to hold that for a minute or so, just so that I can go off properly, just like that. So I don't want that tipping over. I want her to be like, I want it to be held down at the back rather than leaning forwards to the front. So I will probably pause the camera and then bring you back when this is set. So with that nicely secured, I'm now going to stick the other elements down over here. So we've got the reindeer here, and I am going to need to get the red ribbon and run it from around their necks or whatever back to the sled. But before I do that, I'm going to stick the dwarf on, and I'm also going to stick Edmund on. Now the dwarf is actually going to be, and I changed my mind on this, is actually going to be stood on the back here, and Edmund is going to be stood here, quite close actually to the to the sled. So I'll get those glued on. Again, take a minute or so just to kind of like get the glue to go off, and then once I've stuck those two on, I will move over to the other side with a very, very, well, not very smooth pan at all. And I will start to put the Lucy and Mr. Tumnus. So Lucy and Mr. Tumnus are, as I said before, going to be coming down this little path here that I've made. So Lucy is going to be stood at the end of the path, and Mr. Tumnus is going to be kind of dancing over the top of the snow over here. So I'll glue those elements on and then bring you back to have a look at how I'm going to do the ribbon, and then this is pretty much going to be finished. I think I might do a little bit more snow. I might build some more snow up, particularly around where the sled is, and also there's some areas where the where it's bled through and it's green, and I do want to cover that over, so I might just do another application of snow as well, but it's pretty much there, I think. So we're in full on shaky cam mode. Apologies if it's a bit dodgy, but what I've done is I've microwaved these a few times, and then I've dunked them in some of my scenic glue, which is watered down PVA, which I'll do several times. You can see that I've got two of them, two of the pine cones and the wood block on that tray, and then I've got another of the pine cones which I've been able to hang, which is actually hanging here. These really useful, kind of like they're actually for drying clothes, but I use them quite a lot for when I've got things that I want to dry. So I'm going to do that through today, get those all probably coated several times, and that will seal it, and then I can actually start to lay everything out. So what I'm looking at doing now is the harness for these reindeer, and I've just been looking at some pictures, and I think I know I'm going to do it, but it's going to be fiddly, so I'm probably not going to film the actual process setting up for the first one, but I thought I'd show you what my plans are. So I've got the red ribbon, which I've cut to a length and then attempted to cut in half. Haven't been all that accurate cutting in half, but it'll be fine. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this ribbon around the belly of each of the reindeer, like so. And then I'm also going to run a piece around the front chest back to the bit that I put around the belly. So those are the two things I'm going to do. And once that's done, then I will probably attach a piece here going back to the sled. So it is going to be a bit fiddly. I'm going to give it a go. I'm probably going to use super glue and super glue in the speeder upper thingy. So that will make it a little bit easier possibly. But I'll get it done at least on one. And if I can film the other one, then I will. But if I can't, then if it's too fiddly, then I won't bother, because there's no point in looking at my fingers getting in the way of the camera the whole time. But I'll show you what it looks like when it's finished. And then this is almost done, this build. Okay, so that was super fiddly, so I didn't film it. But here we have one of the reindeer with its lovely harness on. And I'm coming to the next and final step now, which is going to be actually attaching the reindeer and having them pulling the sled. So that is going to go like that. Let me just move the camera a little bit actually. That is going to go like that, which there's some footprints that I put in when I was putting the snow in. And then I'm going to have a little length of the split ribbon going from the back of the reindeer, which is here, and coming to just the side of the sled there. And I'll have that the same on both. So the first thing that I'll be looking at doing now, if I can juggle this, I'm struggling a little bit to hold these, they're a bit fiddly. But the next thing I'm going to do now is basically glue the ribbon in place like that, coming to the back, and then when that's dry I will then glue these in, and then when that's dry I will glue these to the pulling points, which we've got just down here at the bottom of the sled legs. So yeah, I'll get that done and show what it looks like when it's finished. So there we are, that's all glued together now, but unfortunately a little bit of a mistake, not a huge one, something that's quite easy to fix. The footing underneath these two reindeer is not quite perfect, particularly this far one was falling over and leaning on top of the near one. So what I've had to do is put a little bit more super glue just to hold it in place, and then slide the super glue tube in to kind of keep them upright. Once that's gone off, what I'll do is I'll mix up a little bit more of the snow mix, put it down underneath the feet so that that is obviously a little bit more supported. I'll probably also put some around the actual front of the sled as well, which is slightly above the ground, and then maybe if I have any left over I'll touch over a few other places, but that's just one of those things. It was always going to be that I might need to touch up with the snow, but once I've done that, then this is finished. I've got it done, and I'm very happy with how it looks. I really like it. I'm looking forward to mounting this on the shelving unit, and I can walk past and smile at it every time I see it. I had another delivery today, which was very exciting, to be honest, because I didn't expect these for a little while. I was actually worried that they would not arrive in time, because I ordered this one here, which is the cobblestones, to go underneath the castle I've made for Battle Games in Middle Earth, and that video needs to be finished by the first Tuesday in September. So I was a bit worried it was going to take longer than this to arrive, and then I would not be able to film that final wrap up, but now that I've got that, I can. I also picked up this, which is the farm land, and yeah, they're really good. I've got these already. I have one of his already, which is the water one. So let me just pull this out. As I say, I have the water one already, which I use for Blood and Plunder and Oak and Iron. And I decided to go for just a couple of these. They're not mouse mat material, they're actually fleece, which makes the printing a little bit looser than the mouse mat material I've seen, but it's still very nice. You can see here's some nice corn, and it's 6'5", 4 foot, so it'll go all over the size of my largest table. And also, one of the good things with these is you can put things underneath them. So you can, like in the classic old days, you can put some books and then make a nice stepped hill, but it doesn't look like books because you can drape the mat over the top, the battle mat over the top. So that's the farm one, and let's get this one out. So again, really nice clear print, good details, and that will look really, really good when it's put down underneath my castle, which is why I've bought it. But also, it's just going to be a fun one to play on. So yeah, these are Geek Villain, highly recommended. Great service, very, very quick delivery, as I've said. Service is superb, very, very pleased myself. I've ordered from him before and ordering again. I've got a shopping list of more of these to order, which I will get to over the coming year and slowly build up more and more mats, because I think that's what I'm going to do more than building big tables. I'll build scattered terrain and use mats. I think that's a better way of doing things. Anyway, really pleased they've arrived in time. You'll see these on the first Tuesday in September. You'll see that, so watch out for that video, yeah, you'll get to see what it looks like on the table. A couple of months ago I started working on this project, and obviously haven't put as much time into it as I thought I should, because you're only just seeing an update now. This was the one where I'm painting up this mecha and these sci-fi figures, and this is for a little bit of a challenge I put out on the Tabletop Dungeoneers Discord. You can find an invite to that in the description below if you're interested, and it was to do something out of my comfort zone. Because I wanted to do this diorama, and it is out of my comfort zone because I don't do sci-fi and I don't do very much scratch building really. I do a lot of terrain building but not scratch building, and for this I'm going to need to scratch build a spaceship, which you can see kind of like arranged here. So a couple of empty resin from the 3D printer. We've got the classic tube of Pringles. Down here I've got a wooden, it's actually for a coffee, and on top we have an old shower head, which I don't know how that might work, but I think it looks quite nice. I might put it that way. I might even put it on the bottom as if it was the rocket engines. And I've also got these, which are some yogurt drinks, which Rosie loves, which I might array around the outside down here as blasters, boosters as well. So what I've just been doing is spent a little bit of time kind of like faffing about and making a little bit of an arrangement, and I'm pretty happy with how that looks. I think it looks quite cool. I'm not sure whether I'm happy or not. I might change it, but I've made a little bit of an arrangement of how this rocket is going to look. I also have some driftwood that I picked up on holiday, which is here, and I've printed out and painted up a bunch of these. These are actually modelled off of an ancient, the oldest wooden idol, I believe, something like that. Quinn from Quinn's Budget Crafts did the sculpt on his Patreon. Again, get involved with that if you want to. So these are going to be scattered around as well. And the last thing is I found a load of stuff actually on holiday, which I brought back. So I've got some driftwood, I've got some floats, and I've got some white stones. And the concept I've got in my head is this is going to be done as a cliff, but with holes in it. So I'm going to have to be very careful how I do that, and that's going to be the first thing to do. So I'll be looking at basically making all the terrain, and it's going to be they're going to be, I mean, it's a bit of a cliche, but this is going to be a relatively like sacred area with all of these idols and carvings and what have you, and this rocket ship has plonked itself down and disgorged a big robot and 4 heavily armed young ladies, and here we have the locals who have come to kind of like greet them. So I'm going to do the terrain first, and at the same time I'm going to work on the rocket, and I technically have about 10 days to finish this now, if I'm going to hit the target that I set everyone else, and a few people have entered. A few people have taken part, which is why I've suddenly gone, oh, I better actually do that, hadn't I? So yeah, so I'm going to get stuck into this. I'll bring you along for all the learning. It's going to be a massive learning experience. It's probably going to be quite a long amount of footage, so I hope that you enjoy it, and I hope that I get something that I'm proud of at the end. So yeah, what I'm going to do now is continue setting up this rocket, work out how I'm actually going to glue it together, have some ideas, and I'll bring you along once I've got that started. And what I'll probably do initially is glue this in place and then start to build up the scenic areas around it, which is going to be done with Luke's modelling compound. So I'll bring you along for all of it, to be honest. It's I really want to follow this closely. So yeah, you have been warned. Alright, so I'm actually relatively happy with how this is looking, and I'm going to start to stick it together. What you can see is we have the elements I've described already, and I've changed the upper part a little bit. So this is going to be assembled in 2 sections I'm going to assemble that bit separately, which is going to be the relatively easiest. And what I'll be doing there is using PVA glue to stick these elements inside this cardboard, and then I'll glue that on top as well eventually. What I'll then do is a look at gluing this together, which is going to be a little bit more of a challenge because it's wood being glued to basically resin bottles that don't actually probably want to have anything in here. So my first effort is going to be, you guessed it, gator glue, and the lids come off, so it's a right pain in the backside to use this at the moment. I need to order some more. And what I'm probably going to do is put a line of gator glue down where the join is going to be, and then attempt to clamp it. And it probably I'm going to have to make use of some strap clamps that I've got to clamp that in place. So I will have a fettle around with that. I will get this one glued now with PVA, and I'll have a fettle around with this, and I'll show you how I've gone about gluing it once I've got it glued, because as I say, I'm not totally sure at the moment, but I think that this will certainly hold it together, because once these are basically glued in place, I'll glue this to the top of this, which will be fine with PVA because it's card to wood, and then I'm going to make use of maybe some homemade papier-mâché, or maybe some of the modelling compound to sculpt it in and fill it in. I probably will also end up using some of these as well as boosters to at the bottom of this element and at the bottom of these, so put a couple of boosters or maybe even as legs. I want it to be quite a imposing, bulky. This is with the base here. I want it to be quite imposing here, so that it's very high at this end, and then as you go towards the locals, the terrain, it drops off. So it's very much of a technological prowess against something else, maybe even more dangerous. Who knows? So get this glued together, and once I've got that all sorted out, I will show you what it looks like. Alright, so I remembered some glue that I had that's actually worked out better, I think. So this is some Moment Fix Extreme Power, which I bought to do the model railway, as it happened, to stick down the tracks because I didn't have any copper decks at the time. And yeah, that seems to have worked very, very well. So what I've done is I've run a bead, as you can see here, a bead down here. I marked off where the angles were, and then I put a bead in between the two as well. And you can see it's already pretty well adhered, which is really, really good. This goes off very, very fast actually, so I might even be able to get the next step done this evening, which would be good. And the next step, I think, is going to be putting these potentially on the back to look a little bit like solar panels, but I'm not sure whether I'll do that or not. I might work a little bit more on the terrain and work out what space I've got before I get too crazy with the rocket. The other section has been done with PVA, as I said, so PVA underneath there, changed around the top a little bit to make it look a little bit nicer, and that will now dry as well. So yeah, I've made a start. Now I'm going to glue down let me move the camera, I'm going to glue down the bit of wood at the back, and then start to work out the actual composition and positioning of all these things, and work out what space I've got. I might bring that a little bit further over here, so these ends come off. Well, you can't see, so I've moved it far enough. Yeah, so this butts up against the end. That's going to be a cave, that's going to be a cave, there's going to be a cave here, and it's going to be quite a rumpled looking bit of terrain. So I might glue that down now and start to work on the rest of this. I'm getting quite tired, so I might do that tomorrow now. But yeah, really pleased to have made a start. Very glad I have actually made a start, because I'd completely forgotten that I was supposed to be doing this. So overnight, this has dried. And so has the upper stage, I suppose I should call it. As you can see, I've just been fettling around a little bit with some of these yogurt drinks, and I've also had a couple of other ideas about how I might work around these very obvious bottle tops, mainly involving cardboard. So I think what I'm going to be doing is, first of all, right now, gluing these two together, because I know that's where I want those to sit. What I might then do is put some cardboard at an angle here, so it comes out from this corner here, goes straight across there and back there, and then that might come in, and I might try and curve that in over there. So what I'm probably going to do is put the sides in like this, make sure I cut them the right way, and have that, as I say, as a curve like this up to the top, and then I can clad the back of that with some more cardboard. But the first thing to do is going to be to glue these two together. Now before I do that, what I might do is put some mesh on the top of this, so that when I paint it, it looks like it's got a little bit of a gridded system over here, because what I would like to have is one of the miniatures actually like exiting a door. So it should look like you can walk on that section there. So going to get that glued together. Probably will end up using PVA on the bottom, like I've said, but I might use this super strong glue, because actually that's just rock solid and glued those together really, really well. So I might use a little bit of that. In terms of underneath and the actual terrain, let me just move those out of the way. And so in terms of that actual terrain, what I have done, I haven't glued it down yet because I'm still not totally sure, so yeah, I don't want to jump ahead, is I've moved this back slightly more and made it slightly flatter, so that there is level with the back of this shelf, and this here is level with the side of the shelf, and I'm just kind of like staring at it and working it out. I'm not sure whether I'm going to start building up the terrain and the scenery and then sit that on top, or whether I'm going to have it as a totally flat plane. A totally flat plane doesn't really make much sense, so almost certainly going to build up the base and put that on top. So anyway, there we are, that's the progress. It's completely out of my comfort zone, I really am, but I'm having fun with it. So I mix up some more of the snow mix and put that where I said I was going to, over by the sled, and we're looking from the back at the moment because of how I was working on it, and then I have built up a little bit more snow just across the centre here, where it was looking a little bit green. There was quite a lot of the paint and the dye that had bled through, and I just wanted it to be a little bit kind of more pristine looking. And I'm using a paintbrush, but I'm also, as you can see here, just thought I'd show you how this worked, I'm also actually using my fingers to spread this, and it works really well to do that. You get a really nice effect. Of course you also get filthy hands, but whatever, it's easy to wash up. It's only PVA and a little bit of glitter. So yeah, so I've done some time with that. I'm going to let that dry now and have a look at it again. I may add some more, I may not. I'm not fully decided yet. I want to see it when it's dry. I may add a little bit more around here, but for now, pretty happy with that, and it may be done indeed. So I've dipped these multiple times in PVA and then sprayed them, which goes against my normal habit, but sprayed them with some varnish, and they're now nicely sealed. I've also gone away and printed out another label which matches nearly the one that I did for the first one. Thassos 2021 second family holiday, and I've also, as you can see, kind of done a little bit of arranging to work out roughly where things might go, and I'm pretty happy with how that's looking at the moment. I think that's going to be ideal. So we've got the heart stone and the one single shell, and then these two nice slabs of the marble. That I just think it's a nice composition. I'm actually really pleased with it, with the little bit of tumbled pine bark here that came from the sea, and then the things specifically which Rosie picked up, which were the pine cones and this stone here. Those are the things that she specifically picked up. So yeah, so what I'm going to do now is work out how I'm going to glue it down, and think about what materials I'm going to use. I'll probably use some spray-on glue for the paper, because PVA has a horrible habit of wrinkling when you're gluing paper to card, and then probably we'll use PVA for the wood, and probably we'll use the gator glue for the stone, because it's a really good hold. However, having said that, in another project I've discovered just how good the Moment Fix Extreme is. Now I have a couple of tubes of this, so I'm not running short, and I may indeed use this, which is just to use a pistol grip to put that on, and that will probably work really well for these bigger items here. So yeah, so I'll get that sorted out and let you know what I've decided. So if you're going to do this, you have the benefit of my mistakes. But yeah, pretty much nearly done on this. It's been a very quick build. I'm really looking forward to getting this up on the wall. Well, that could have been a disaster. I just suddenly thought, I better check to see which way is up, and that is the end that has the hook on it. So I'm going to have to rearrange it. That just made me laugh. made me chuckle. I thought I'd share that. So yeah, if you're doing this, make sure you find out exactly where the hanger is, so that you don't nearly make a mistake like I did. The pictures are, or the printed paper is stuck down now. I've used 3M craft mount spray, and what I'm doing now is going to stick these stones on. So I've got my pistol grip here, and what I do is I run a bead down the centre like so. Don't go too near the edge because I don't want it to spill and bleed. And then you can press that down and it will spread out, and when that dries that should be rock solid. So I'm going to do the same thing for everything else that's on here. Put a little blob of glue on and then press it down, so just on the back of the heartstone, a little blob of glue like that, and then press that down. And it's really tacky quite quickly. It's actually probably the perfect thing for this, for doing this. So yeah, so I really would recommend having a look into these sorts of glues if you're looking at making something like this. Just a tube of glue. It lasts for ages. I've had this. This is the glue that I bought for doing the model railway for Rosie, so I've had this for a long time. So yeah, so I'm going to just glue everything else in, let that go off for probably 6 or 7 hours, and then that should be done. I might use PVA for the shell though, because yeah, I really don't want it to spill around, and PVA is probably the best thing for that. But nearly done. Very, very cool looking. Well, there we are. Back to it with a bang, as you see. I've actually got quite a lot done this morning as well. This is Sunday morning before editing and publishing this. Really good to get so much progress on the memory board for the holiday. I am going to be finishing that today, I think, from the looks of it, and hanging it on the wall, which is just going to look great. And I'll try to remember next week to get a bit of footage of it on the wall so you can see. I also should say that I did actually play some games while I was away. I took a few and only played one. I played the Conan, the Sumerian, which I unboxed a couple of weeks ago. I managed to get a couple of solo playthroughs of the first round and really enjoyed that, so that will be coming to the channel at some point once I've painted the miniatures, which will probably also be on the channel, and I'll try and get some playthroughs because it's a really fun game. It's I can see that it's probably going to be quite difficult as you get higher up the tower, and every single one I've played has been different so far, which does bode well for the replayability. So there we are. Anyway, let me know what you think. Let me know what you think of any of the projects I've done. I do love reading all your comments, and I do reply to them all. And I will thank you so much for watching, particularly if you did get this far. And as always, please stay safe, stay well, and stay healthy.